Hello, and thank you to all who read this. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your effort reading this, and this is another part of my story. How is literacy shaped by social and cultural context? I'm coming down with something right now, so my throat might sound a little weird, but I'll tie in my beliefs and story for this assignment. Something that I do every single day, no matter where I am at, is communicate with people by speaking to them physically in person. I love talking to people and building meaningful relationships. One thing that has changed my verbal language and writing forever is me building a relationship with God. I no longer use secular language in my vocabulary, as it's sinful to do so. How can you give the Lord your praises with your tongue, but it's the same mouth speaking vulgar comments? I used to feel the need to use vulgar language to fit in, and I didn't start having it get bad until early high school. I carried this language with me all the way up until my late 20s. It wasn't until we got baptized in the Pacific Ocean before we left California, and then a shift in my heart happened. I stopped living so much for me and about me. I gave my plans to the Lord for His purpose for me, to follow a lifestyle that resembles the life of Christ, and to be a service driven person is extremely difficult for society to grasp, me included, as I'm still learning how to be like that every single day. Growing up, I always felt different from other kids, and I heard a voice in my head telling me I was going to change the world and make it a better place. I still believe that wholeheartedly. Society no longer influences me to write a certain way based on social media. How I write now is what I learned in school and from the books I've read. You need to be extremely mindful of who you're giving your energy to and whose energy you're taking from. That environment or culture will determine how you react in language terms. One thing I heard that changed my life forever was what you practice in peace will be your reflex. Excuse me, under pressure. Following the crowd is not a good thing to do anymore, and it hasn't been for centuries. I've mentioned it before, but we as humans, as cavemen, needed to stick with the tribe to survive. We often imitate that intensity of fears with something as simple as avoiding speaking in front of people. The people who ever did anything great with their life and the people that are remembered in our history books are the people who challenged normal cultural standards. I have a really hard time connecting with people when their language isn't something I want to be influenced by, even if they mean well and are generally positive. It's hard because I really want to influence this audience that needs to be hearing the right things for them in order to grow, not just spiritually speaking, but in the mind and in the body as well. For example, I take so much pride in being able to give people the tools they need to become a better version of themselves, but they also need to reciprocate that they want to listen or change. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time and energy on people who want to stay stagnant and be mediocre. I remember hearing this podcast with Jay Shetty as the host, and he had Kim Kardashian as a guest on his podcast. She mentioned, excuse me, she mentions that you could love someone for who they are and be patient with them as they're developing into this person they need to be for their own journey. Jay mentions that you're not bringing this person onto the next level for your journey, but for theirs. In Carol's book, Backpacks versus Briefcases, what she reminds me of is the constant judgment of people from what others project on social media. I take mental health cleanses from Instagram very frequently because of the constant overstimulation of information. If I'm going to be on a platform, it's to make content and provide value for my audience. Don't keep using a platform as a consumer, but as a producer to provide value into another stranger's life. You have no idea how powerful your speech is. I call spelling for a reason. You have much more power than you think in your speech. There was a study that was done regarding how you speak towards a plant. Your tone and what you communicate to the plant, whether it may be positive or negative, has lasting effects on its life. According to the Smithsonian and NASA, when you speak positively to a plant, you will help it grow. Another study was done regarding how you talk to water in a bottle as well. Dr. Emoto explains that when you speak positivity into the water, snowflake like crystals will appear. If you speak negatively, then the crystals were distorted. We are made up of 70% water. I'm going to bring it back to the plant experiment and explain my thought process on this. Vibrations are something that you can feel. You can't see it, but you could feel it. It's an aura feeling, and people feel vibes. Life is all about energy, and people are more sensitive to receiving it or issuing out depending on the person. I'm also going to touch back on social media and include some information I heard over the past couple of years and my own personal experience with it. We, as a species, have done many magnificent things, but we have not fully adapted to social media yet. We don't know the long term effects of doom scrolling yet. But I do speak from experiences when I say that I'm a better husband, father, and listener when I'm away from my phone. I'm more present, I think clearer, and I'm not so angry or snappy when I'm away from it. We have access to a plethora of information, which is a double edged sword. You need to have the discipline to set those boundaries in place to use tools to your advantage. Your hippocampus is slowly shrinking due to not exercising your brain. The craziest part of all of this is that it's not just affecting kids and their attention span, but it's affecting adults and how they react. When we constantly consume content, our nervous system rarely gets a break. Notifications, headlines, and endless comparisons subtly influence our mood and self perception. Just like plants responding to their environment, we respond to the digital environments we place ourselves in. If we are constantly surrounded by outrage, negativity, and excuse me, and unrealistic standards, it shapes our eternal dialogue. Over time, that inner voice can become harsher, more anxious, and more reactive. On the other hand, when we intentionally step away, spend time in nature, read, reflect, or engage in real conversations, we nourish the minds differently. Energy flows where attention goes. Protecting our attention is protecting our peace, our relationships, and ultimately the quality of the life we are growing every single day. Another major piece of this judgment, social media has created a culture where judging others has become normal, almost automatic. We scroll past someone's life in a few seconds and feel entitled to form an opinion about their parenting, their marriage, their success, their appearance, excuse me, or their beliefs. That constant judgment doesn't just stay on the screen, it conditions our minds. The more we judge others, the more we judge ourselves. Excuse me. We begin measuring our worth against filtered images and highlight reels. We become critics instead of contributors. Judgment also fuels comparison, and comparison quietly steals contentment. Instead of being grateful for what we have, we focus on what we lack. Instead of celebrating someone else's success, we question it. That mindset creates internal tension and insecurity. If words and vibrations can influence plants and even water, imagine what constant judgment, spoken or unspoken, does to a human heart and mind. Thank you for listening, and take care.